I haven't had a wreck in years. I'm an extremely safe driver. Is Florida a fault or no fault state?
No fault.
What does that mean?
Nobody's at fault.
Nobody's at fault. So if they wreck your car, who pays for it?
Your insurance company.
Your insurance company. Is there a gap? Would there be a gap?
There could.
Yeah.
There could be.
We're gonna know, sir, just because you haven't had a wreck in years doesn't mean some drunk's not gonna bump you. You know, there's always two people involved in it. You're an extremely safe driver, but there's a bunch of extremely unsafe drivers driving the same roads. And you're still responsible for the balance on your car.
And uninsured and underinsured.
Yeah. So that is a great close for that argument. I'm a safe driver, sir. I know you are, but every wreck has to. I live in the Villages, for heaven's sake. God's waiting room. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have 3 near wrecks a week with people that shouldn't have driver's licenses. I'm on a divided highway not a week ago, and there's a woman on my side of the road coming at me. I mean, luckily I stopped and got her to turn around. But she had no idea she was on a divided highway on the wrong side. So with customers, I'm an extremely safe driver. I'm sure you are. Well, I live in a nice neighborhood. We don't have car theft here. Sir, people generally don't steal cars in the hood. They go to where the nice cars are, right? Excuse me. So what the heck? I mean, just because it hasn't happened to you yet, you buy it in the event that it might happen to you. Did it make good sense? Now at the bottom of page 47, there's not a whole lot of sales pitch to Gap. I mean, you got 3 or 4 closes on Gap. There's not a whole lot you can say about it. They get it or they don't get it. But one objection you are going to receive. Well, I have insurance. My insurance company will take care of me. Do you have copies in your evidence manual of a Geico policy, of a Progressive policy, of a State Farm policy? Do you? I try to capture as many copies of policies where I can show people, sir, your insurance does not cover Gap. It says so right here in your policy. So I've got a copy of every major company that sells insurance in my market. It takes you a while to collect all of this, but if you start getting a collection of insurance policies, you know, eventually you'll have one of each. You can download them online. You know, here's a copy of a Geico policy. Here's a copy of a State Farm policy. They do not cover Gap. They do not cover Gap. They do not cover Gap. You know, third-party verification is superior to you saying it. They believe you lie. But when you can show them a verifiable third-party verification that what I'm telling you is the truth and it benefits you. Insurers limit the claim to actual cash value of the vehicle. What's that company that say, I saw a commercial the other day, we'll pay off the whole car, not 3/4 of it?
Liberty Mutual.
Liberty Mutual. That's the first company I've seen that is telling you we have no gap. We pay the actual value of the car with no gap. I mean, I've never seen an insurance company advertise that until now. What'd you get out of that little short chapter, Wayne?
Well, it talks about the value versus perceived value that some people think that they have.
Mm-hmm. You've got to convince them their own insurance company doesn't cover it. And you've got to gently do that. Now, that's why I like to use the documentation. Your insurance company does not cover this. That's the biggest sell you have to do. And the $7,500 average Gap claim, and I'm sure it's probably even higher because that's a year-old statistic. I'm sure it's just over 8,000 maybe. But
interestingly enough, the guy that says he's never had an accident in 37 years, statistically, he's due.
Yeah. Yeah. Brad, what'd you get out of that one?
the small manageable amount versus a catastrophic, stressful amount is a pretty good one. I like that. You use that in all kinds of different things that you're selling. That you reduce it to a duh amount.
Exactly. When I say Chuck E. Cheese's pizza place,
Yeah, I like that.
all grandparents relate to that. You give it to your kids to put in the video machines. I never use the pennies a day close or the. I mean that's been around forever. Why it's only pennies a day? It's 2 cups of coffee.
I like the telling stories.
Yeah, stories sell. And if you are of the Christian faith, that the Bible is all about Jesus teaching in parables. Well, a parable is a story that has a point. And that's the way I sell F&I. I sell F&I in parables. Everybody got that? Every story I tell is a parable. And when I sold credit insurance, I had all sorts of things. I would tell people stories of people that used it, claimed it, and Dale Carnegie courses, and I taught Carnegie for a short time, for less than a year, but it was a 14-week course. Create a word picture of your client using your product, enjoying your product, and benefiting from your product. That came out of Dale Carnegie in the 30s. Create a word picture of your client using your product, enjoying your product, benefiting from your product. And that stuck with me, a word picture. In 1970, Rod Stewart had a song called Every Picture Tells a Story. Well, in my life, every story tells a picture. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now, and I want you to really grasp this concept. Picture this. Whenever I say to a customer, picture this, I'm telling them to go to their visual mind. Picture this. They don't even know what you just did. And it's one of the strongest psychological closes that I use. How many people sell theft deterrent window edge? Anybody in the room? I'm gonna spend a little short while on it for the video, but theft deterrent window edge is the leading deterrent of auto theft. And one of my favorite closes on window edge. I had it on my last car. You did? Yes. Was your car stolen? No. It worked. Yeah. I told you it would work. But truthfully, window etch has gotten the largest number of lawsuits and prosecutions from government agencies of any product we sell in F&I. Window etch has been involved in more negative lawsuits and such, state attorney general actions, Federal Trade Commission actions, not because window etch is a bad product, but because people have gouged on the price ridiculously. When they had the Gunderson Chevrolet prosecution in the late 80s, early 90s, when 30 government agents walked in the middle of the day and took all the files out of the dealership and threw 5 managers in prison. One of the biggest things they nailed them on was selling window etch to non-English speaking Mexicans for $1,800. That was the biggest single part of the prosecution of Gunderson Chevrolet, which was an AutoNation store, biggest Chevrolet store in California at the time. They were selling window etch for $1,800 and selling on English contracts to non-English speakers. So you can see where that put 5 managers in jail, and including the general manager. Yeah, whether he did it or not. So window etch is a great product if you price it reasonably and don't mark it up. It's an insured product. The window etch itself has no value without the insurance policy covering it. How about the environmental protection package? Who's selling chemicals? What do you got, Pete? protective. And how do you present that to the consumer?
Protect the exterior and interior of the vehicle. Exterior against acid rain, loss of glass, bird droppings, tree sap, love bugs.
Love bugs.
Yeah.
The love bugs are back, aren't they?
Yeah, they're here.
Yeah, and the Pentecostals are out there pulling them apart. That's my favorite joke. I call it the environmental protection package. Tampa blend. Maybe not, but anyway. One thing about the environmental protection. How many leases are you doing, Pete?
Not a whole lot.
Who's doing a lot of leases? Anybody? You do? Yeah. Mr. Customer, your contract with the lessor states that you will keep this car cosmetically and mechanically sound. Everybody hear that word track? Yeah. Your contract with the lessor requires that you keep this car cosmetically and mechanically sound. So cosmetically means the environmental protection package, the paint sealant. You like that word track, Robert? You see, this course is all about words. I mean, I'm not teaching you to sell stuff you don't know how to sell. I'm teaching you new ways to present the stuff you sell. Things to say that are much more customer friendly and better received. The customer says, yeah, that makes sense. Like when I was at Burton, Ohio, when I was at Preston Superstore, and I said, $7,500 would be a catastrophic event coming at you, unexpected. It would cause undue hardship, as opposed to frivolous money that you don't even care about. A small, known, manageable amount. Small, known, manageable, as opposed to catastrophic financial event. You create two pictures. Environmental protection package can significantly increase the trade-in value of your vehicle. Environmental protection package. Paint today is inferior to paint on cars 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the paint we have on our cars, be it a Mercedes or a Kia, the paint was superior 10 years ago because the federal government took the lead out of the paint, the environmental people did. So when they took the lead out of the paint oxidizes and has issues a lot more than the paint 10 years ago, especially solar power. Now, name the brand again, Pete.
Protector. The Protector?
Yeah, protective?
Protector, yeah.
Okay, one thing you want to find out is the paint sealant you're selling ultraviolet ray filtered. Now, I don't know the answer to that, some are, some are not. But if I've got a paint protectant that's ultraviolet ray filtered, it's like a sunscreen at the beach and it'll keep your paint from oxidizing, especially red and black paint. You know, which have a tendency to oxidize more than other paints. And we live in Florida, excuse me. It's kind of sunny and bright out here, even in October, right? And what else do we have here? We have salt air. We got salt air, we got bird droppings, we got love bugs, all kinds of bugs. You know, we have a number of things that will attack your car's finish. And the interior fabric protection we sell is commercial grade, oil-based, not water-based. It's not something you go and buy at Pep Boys. So we have an oil-based commercial grade fabric protectant inside the car. An oil base as opposed to a water base, as opposed to.
And what I like is it lasts for 7 years. It's up to 7 years.
What does?
Ours is up to 7 years.
7 years. You got a 7-year guarantee. And what will they do if something happens?
Either replace it, or the idea is we're supposed to take it in and let them do it first, and let us have a chance to take it out. If we can't, then they will replace the whole.
They'll replace the panel in the seat or whatever, if it can't be repaired.
Correct.
So you have a guarantee that goes with the environmental protection package. Is this a good little overview? Bird droppings, bugs, tree sap. You know, my father-in-law bought one of my used Lincolns from me. Damn if he didn't park it under pine trees. And then the pine sap ate all the paint off the thing. You know, so pine sap, bird droppings, bugs, salt air, ultraviolet rays of the sun. Now, if your protective has ultraviolet ray filter, which some do, some don't, that's a big selling point to the consumer. I can just go to Pep Boys and buy Scotch Guard. Scotch Guard is not the same quality of what I'm selling. It doesn't have a 7-year guarantee on the interior fabric.